This reaction is brought to you by my $5 or more patrons at patreon.com/AlexHeitz. I'd like to thank Manchester Pictures, Identitech, Steve Aldersley, Anthony Coleman, Kurt David, Joe Brown, Mason Frost, Thomas Amos, Matthew McLaughlin, Andres Glaisel, and Biffsy for sponsoring this video, supporting me, my family, the channel, all this stuff. Thank you guys. Hope you like it. Hi. I hope you're all well. Today, we are listening to the 5th Stereolab album, Dots and Loops. The worst kind of cereal, by the way. Has nothing on Fruit Loops. Actually, Fruit Loops are gross. If anyone likes Fruit Loops, please unsubscribe. I don't want you anywhere near me. No. So yeah, this is 5th album. We've done the first 4. Favorite so far is Transient, but Emperor Tomato Ketchup is very close. And then Mars, and then Pang. This one has been requested for quite a while before I even just I thought of doing Stereolab, as a whole in general, or 6 Stereolab albums. Everyone's like, you got Dots and Loops. And I'm like, what's Dots and Loops? And so yeah, that's what we're doing today. Classified as art pop, post-rock, easy listening, 65 minutes, 10 tracks. All music critic Stephen Thomas Erlewine identifies Dots and Loops as being primarily influenced by bossa nova and 1960s pop music, which I am all for. Also, there's elements of it's a little more jazzy, some dance rhythms as well. So it's kind of like experimenting with all kinds of, not necessarily even genres, but ideas from genres. Very interested to see what this one is like. Since it's almost 70 minutes, I think we're just going to jump right in and hop to it. My son is not happy, but that's okay. Maybe I'll be happy for him after listening to this. So let's begin. Brakhage. I like this. It's legit. If the rest of the album is like this might be my favorite. I love the what would those be called? Let me look real quick. Vibraphone? Maramba? I think it would be like a vibraphone, right? I love the vibraphone, xylophone, especially in jazz, bossa nova, of course. But I love that bossa nova lounge vibe. That's just my bread and butter. I love that stuff. That 60s lounge bossa nova stuff. I could drink that for breakfast. So, good. Like it. Miss Modular. The tones and the styles and the genres are meshing a lot better on this than they have in previous albums. Like I said in my Emperor Tomato Ketchup video and in the follow-up, There's some like elements of Stereolab, like it's the post rock ideas in the pop format or pop structure that just kind of like fall into a crack for me as far as like listening to it goes. Cause like I can't vibe out to it, but I can't pay super close attention to it. It's just like a really hard dynamic for me personally. But this is like much better on like the progressive side. It's not as rocky yet. That might change. But for right now, it is very chill, and it's staying chill. So I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. It's kind of like once they went with like once they did transient, it was hard for them to like de-transient their music. Because like I think transient is their best attempt. Close Emperor Tomato Ketchup is close, but I think transient is their best attempt at that like rockier post rock sound. Pardon me. And they couldn't quite shake that post rock sound as they went in a more lounge or art pop, easy listening, chill direction. And like so, Mars was a little messy for me in that way because it seemed like a mix that wasn't quite fitting. Emperor Tomato Ketchup did a better job, but now it seems like they're kind of moving away from that sort of rougher sound. Which I like the rougher sound, but past two albums, it was kind of hit and miss with me. So this seems a little more in line with something like Transient. It's just a different genre. So, The Flower Called Nowhere. I've said before in previous reactions that there's good filler tracks and there's bad filler tracks. That was a good filler track because like it didn't do anything crazy or, it wasn't bombastic. It didn't have anything super out there to say, but it was just like, basically because when you're making albums, like sometimes you just need a track to kind of get you to the next track, and that one track doesn't need to be anything super special. And this kind of fit the bill pretty good because it was very simple, and it's something you can kind of like zone out to. But like I said, because the genres aren't like, you don't have genre whiplash like you did on like Mars and to some degree Emperor Tomato Ketchup, that one went down a little bit easier. I didn't like it as much as the first two tracks, but it served its purpose. It's like this is a full album kind of listen, and so it's working in that way. Diagonals. So, like, some of my complaints in earlier Stereolab albums was like the repetition and how uninteresting some of the tracks were. But like what's happening on this album, I'm noticing, granted, I'm not even really halfway through, is they have like, that groove, whether it's like a bass or a guitar or a synth that just kind of repeats throughout the song. But here they're layering on extra instruments. Like you had some brass in there, it sounded like. And that just kind of freshens it. It keeps it interesting. And I always like groove-based tracks where like a good groove that I really like is a good thing, but like a groove-based track, it can be a kind of not super great groove so long as there's like other things to interest you, right? Like the groove can almost serve as a percussion that kind of locks you into a song, and then other things are happening on top to complement it. And that's what's happening here, and I'm down with that. Prisoner of Mars. I like their spacier tracks. Obviously, Prisoner of Mars implies that, but yeah, this album's going down pretty easy. Hard to say whether or not I like it more than some of the others yet, but it's definitely more consistent, like tone-wise, than some of the others so far. Dig it. Rainbo Conversation. Nice. Don't have a lot to say about that one. I just like the chill mood, Probably kind of like Flower Called Nowhere. It sort of feels like a filler, but it's just kind of almost like a transitionary track, All right, Refractions in the Plastic Pulse. This is the long one, 17 minutes. Sister Ray. So with the really long Stereolab tracks, I always have a hard time with them because while I do enjoy most of what's in them, like the last one was what, Jenny Ondio line from Transient. It just feels like three or four tracks stitched together, and it doesn't feel like one thing. Like those didn't really like feel the same. It didn't feel like one big composition or even just like parts of a composition. It just felt like three or four songs mushed together. But it's like there were elements of it that I liked in there. I liked I think the third one. There was four, if I'm not mistaken. I think the third one was my favorite. Not bad, but again, like with Jenny, it's just like it doesn't quite do it for me. It doesn't feel like a cohesive piece. But anyway, let's keep going. 3 tracks left. Parsec. Can't remember if it was Flower Called Nowhere or Diagonals where I commented on how like the grooves can be like not super interesting, but if you have like, something on top of it to really keep you grounded, it can be really compelling. That was very similar in that way. It kind of, like I said, had that sort of filler feel, although by this point there's enough tracks like that on this album. I think it came out of the gate more, I don't want to say interesting, but more dynamic than the rest of the album has become. Because like Brakhage and Miss Modular, I think were pretty unique compared to some of these other ones. Prisoner of Mars was unique. Yeah, but there's been a good handful of these kind of sort of chill groove tracks with brass and horns on them. I want more vibraphone. Give me more vibraphone. 2 tracks left. Ticker Tape of the Unconscious. That's pretty legit. I liked the kind of like 90s breakbeat element to it. That's what was playing. See, that's what should have been playing in the Matrix lobby before they caught Neo and he had to start shooting everybody. There you go. That's headcanon now. All right, last one. Contronatura. Contronatura. Stereolab ending tracks are usually pretty interesting. We'll see how this one goes. Oh. Farting frogs percussion. Wow. Okay. So there's Doots and Lops. It was good. It was nice and good. Very good. Very cool. So okay, this is interesting. I think it started off strong. First 5 tracks I thought were pretty solid. Tracks 3 and 4, like I said, kind of felt a little filler-y, but that's okay. Tracks 6 through maybe 8, 6 and 7 were definitely some of my least favorites. 8 was okay. The last couple were really cool. They always have really interesting closing tracks, and the first part of this final track, I was just like, whatever. But then when it brings in on that last half, after the frog thing or whatever that was, the weird like samples or something, I liked that last half of the final track. That was pretty cool. Yeah, most consistent tonally, I think. I think it's more consistent tonally than even Transient was. Do I like it more than Transient? I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not. I'll have to spend a little bit more time with it. Every Stereolab album that I've heard so far, I have to like kind of let it sit for a little bit. Like I said in the previous video, it makes more sense in the rear view mirror after I've spent a little bit of time with it. I don't even necessarily have to listen to it again. It's just like these melodies and progressions and this production has to just kind of sit in my head and ferment a bit. I love the chill nature of this one, though. Like I said, most tonally consistent so far. Yeah, we'll have to see. There's a few elements on here that I really dug. I don't think there's a track on here, though, that I like more than Sybil's Reverie. It's hard to say. I don't know. First couple were pretty cool. Last one was pretty cool, too. Blah, blah. Anyway, that is it. That is Doots and Lops. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you who don't know, I do follow-up videos week to 2 weeks after I do my first reaction. So if you want to see my like kind of final thoughts after all the dust has settled on this album, feel free to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, what the hell is wrong with you? Smash the subscribe button, destroy the bell, put a crack in it. Liberty. Also, patreon.com/AlexHeitz if you want to support the channel, allow me to do this full-time possibly. $1 a month is all you need to get access to polls, which every 3 to 5 albums that I react to, I will do a poll album, which gets community chosen on my Discord, link to that also in the description. And then for the top 4 albums that get picked, go on the Patreon as a poll, and you have about like a week to vote in that. So if you want to be able to participate in that, $1 a month is all you need on the Patreon, and also the Discord, which is free to join. Check that out in the description. I think that's all I have for you guys. Nothing special. Same old, same old. That is all. Thank you guys. I'll catch you later. Godspeed.